All right, you should be all set.
Great. Thanks so much.
Good night.
Night.
Good evening, Steve.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Yeah, I missed last month's meeting, right?
So did everyone else. It was just it was just Bob and I.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I
sorry.
don't know if it
I
went.
thought about it. I thought about it during the day. I thought about it the day before. I thought about the day before that, and I thought about it the day after.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no, I think there's something happened with I think Sherry was trying to get in, but he had the wrong link. But
Oh,
Bob and I had a good conversation.
good.
Yeah, no, I got him up to speed on like the memorial building and a few of the other projects. But
Yep.
just to kind of like let him know what was going on. Actually, hold on one second.
Sure.
Hi, Carlton.
Hey, how you guys doing? Happy
Good.
New Year.
Hey, Calvin.
Having a good year,
Um,
David?
Yeah, Calvin. I got a piece of paper around somewhere. I was going to send over. I was trying to figure out who I might send it to. You can build a fire into somebody, but all those, we often get things in the mail from power companies wanting to sell us power, drop our main supplier.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Wareham has a community power agreement, and they opened it up to the citizens of the town,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the same thing, and they get a certain rate. And I was reluctant to do it, but I did join it back in 2016, and I think it's probably about a 15% savings in my electricity,
Yeah.
the town-wide thing. And I was just curious if anybody in Bridgewater would be interested in looking into that. Is it on a town basis, not an individual?
That's
I
a
don't know
good
what you-
question.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly. I get my powers discounted because I buy from a company that, does solar and other alternative energy things. And then there's the community solar that a field can go in and then an individual can purchase it. But I've never heard of a town using that that the town could buy into it, but I'd have to look into it some more.
yeah. I'll ship a letter over to you when I come across it again, and give it some thought. Is to maybe not. I'm not trying to give you another job. I'm just what direction you could push this thing in. Go
Well-
directly to Dutton, or if there was another group in town.
I hear you loud and clear, and the Energy Committee would be the responsible place, but I'm by myself there.
Oh,
Although I've heard that somebody tried to join it, but it hasn't been appointed. And I don't know anything about that, but there's some other things going on that I need to understand. So yeah, I'm happy to try to do what I can, but to be honest with you, I don't know that anybody's going to listen to me in town anymore. Well, you guys
Yeah.
might.
yeah.
I have had no communication. They don't reach out to the committee. There's this really neat committee thing, volunteer, but if the town's not going to reach out to the committees to actually ask them questions, I'm a little discouraged about it, but I'll try to, it's a new year, so I'll try to build myself up and get engaged more.
Yeah.
Sorry to be so maudlin.
Just briefly, another thing, Captain. I've been following the Ed Valdi's committee. Occasionally I tune into his meetings and just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I missed a couple of them, so I went on YouTube one day, and I brought up what I thought was the Bridgewater committee. So I was busy doing something else, so I figured, well, I'll just bring up the audio and sit back and continue with the other project I was doing. And they were talking about a town manager who's doing exactly what Michael Dutton's doing. and they're really unhappy about it. Not communicating with people, not following through on projects, going wild with his budget with salaries. He doesn't increase salaries, but what he does, he creates special jobs and then gives people a stipend to do that special job, which amounts to an increase in their pay. And
Yep.
the pay's just out of sight in some of these people. So wait a minute. It's, and I looked at it and who are these people? I looked at the pictures, the faces, and there weren't any of our people. So I looked into it a little further and I was watching East Longmeadow.
Oh, really?
It was so funny because it was the exact same things that we're going through here. So I sent it over to Ed and said, Ed, you're not alone. So other people got the same problems. So,
Well, I don't know how much Ed does or does not. I see James Walters joined us. I don't know how much Ed actually thinks that Michael's doing a poor job. I just don't know his feelings on it right now. A lot of us have voiced it, but I don't know.
my conversations with him, he's not happy with Michael's job, but he doesn't feel as though it's anything that his committee could possibly do anything about or make any changes in the charter that could help it. So
They can weaken the town
Yeah.
manager. They can weaken the town manager by reducing that detailed list of things that he can do and not do, and they can actually put it in there and say the town could change it so that the legislative body, the council, has more power
Yeah,
instead of just hire and fire the manager. But
yeah. Well, see where it goes.
Yep. But thanks for letting me know, and especially on the energy thing. I would very much like to know what that is. I haven't engaged in the energy stuff for quite a while, so. And I'm worried about some stuff that's going on up the legislature about pilot studies and taxation of large fields and stuff. It's something I haven't got my head around yet. There's some stuff I forwarded to Michael and said I'd like to get his opinion on it. I'd like to sit down and talk with him, but we'll see.
Good luck.
Thank you. Steve, are you doing all right?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
Okay.
no,
Running on it?
still just waiting on quorum for this, but no. Other than that, it's been actually had a pretty active few days where people have been asking about their houses and about kind of the history of their houses. So I've been
Nice.
I've been helping some people out with looking through deeds and like trying to find some research on some houses that one that's not in the Macros database, which I was surprised about. It's 308 Main Street.
Is that the one that the person on Facebook said it's a 1680s house?
Yeah.
Really?
It's and like it's I think from like the knowledge that I've gathered and from like people who have looked at the history of it, I think it's great that they posted that because I think people have given them a lot of information. I doubt that it is a 1680 house because I think that that is it's definitely it's probably in the 1700s, but I don't think it's a 1680. And it's potentially it was relocated from the corner of Main and Center and moved down. That's the story. But I don't have documentation on if it's been when it was moved and if it was moved, but I have like the family documentation of it.
That's interesting. Yeah, when I saw that 1680 number, I said, nah, I don't think so. You've got what the Keith House is purported to be 1672, something like that. And there are people that dispute that. So
yeah, and the Torrey House would be like one of the few houses that are in 1600s.
Maybe the Alden House had some of that, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the other thing about that house is that it's been renovated multiple times. That if you look at the inside, the history, any architectural integrity of the 16 or 1700s, not visible right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
The other one was on South Street. And that one I was able to, it was a house on South Street that, when the person purchased the house, it was listed as 1965. Um, that was when, plumbing or like went in, or electrical went into it, but I found deeds to it back to 1894. So,
It's-
and so that was kind of interesting. I was able to go back and look at I gave them the history of every owner of it, give them the book and page number for them to do their research. And I
Nice.
found
Good for
found
you.
out maps.
I've been doing some research for, uh, uh, well, his aunt, his great aunt lives here in town, or Rebecca Bowens. I don't know. She's over on Spring Hill Avenue. And her brother had lots of land in Bridgewater, and they got a notice that they didn't have to pay taxes on the land anymore because they can't find the land. They can't find the lots. And so they've been trying to research it. And I was doing the same thing. I was going in on the registry of deeds and trying to
Yeah.
see stuff and that. It's fascinating that there's properties that were bought because it was taken by the town and then sold. And then you see one that it was taken and sold. And then this guy owns it now. And it's like, I don't see any of the documentation that puts the two pieces together.
Right. It's frustrating when you get to those dead ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been looking at that. I've been taking some walking. I've been going to Ironworks Park recently with my daughter, and just kind of looking at the site, kind of getting in my head with the upcoming project.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Did you get the invite to do it for the ad hoc committee that they've all agreed to? Did you
I
get the
did.
invite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet, but
It's just asking for dates that you would be open to attending. No, and then I've also one thing that I've personally been doing recently is I got myself a late Christmas gift. I got myself a metal detector.
can you come over? I'd love to use it over in the Keith house.
Oh yeah, no, I mean if the with you being on the board, and if you give authorization to use it, we can definitely put it over there.
I can work on that. The other thing, I think it's really important. I wish we had ground penetrating radar, because I do think there's got to be they may be filled in, but there was at one point some underwater channels based on some of the historic maps. I think I sent you some of that stuff. And
Yes.
the way it's drawn, the ancient map, what is it, the 1852 map or something? It's very clear that there's some inlets going under some buildings, and you don't see them anywhere. And then there's some outlets almost straight down from them.
Right.
And one of the outlets is by the bridge there. So, and I brought that up, and they said, the state said, oh, no, there's nothing underneath there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's prove it.
Find it.
But I'm hoping you guys can lead that. I've done everything I can do, except sit on this meeting and ask for mitigation.
Yeah.
Mitigation and more mitigation. That's something we have to figure out, I guess, when you get to the committee, but we have to figure out as a town if we actually want mitigation, which I think is critically important.
Right.
But that's on your agenda tonight, I guess, a little bit, but
Yeah, kind of basically just to briefly discuss that. But yeah, no, I think mitigation is important. I think one of the things I was talking to my wife about was when they do when they have to do construction, the they laid out like how they would kind of protect the ground and pressure from all the heavy equipment. Like she's been researching can't remember the name of it right now, but basically it's the root system, the connected root system.
oh, right.
If you compress it down, that all the roots kind of regenerate all the other plants and trees and everything, when you compress it down, it's like a sponge, but it doesn't come back, and that might actually kill
Mhm.
that connection, almost like the brain nerve. But they you got to be very careful with like putting too much pressure on the ground.
Yeah, and they're supposed to put some kind of mats down on that kind of thing, but I don't think the modern engineers yet recognize that the work that's been done on how trees communicate and
Yes.
are living. They don't have a soul necessarily, but they have something.
Yep.
Yeah, I've read a couple of the books on that. It's absolutely fascinating.
It really is. So yeah, that's something where it's like if they're going to be, we have to make special extra sure that they're going to protect the grounds, because like you do that, suddenly trees are going to start dying, grass won't grow back,
Right.
kills off the you're basically killing the site by trying to save it.
Yeah, yeah, right. You alter it, unintended consequences, as
Yep.
they say. Well, I hope you get your quorum tonight, otherwise.
I'm gonna, the two real quick, just Bob said that he was going to be on this. No. Yeah, last week we had an issue, and people weren't. It was only Bob and I on the meeting. That's why it had to be. It wasn't a official meeting. I'd love to get this going, but
It's well, I think the town council meets tonight, and I think that they are appointing or ratifying another person to be on the historical commission,
yes,
which is good news.
yeah. Michael let me know about that a few days ago.
Oh, he does communicate to some people.
Some.
You haven't stepped on his toes yet. I've done a lot of stepping.
Yeah, that kind of dampens things.
And Community Preservation Committee will be meeting next week, and one of the agenda items that we're going to do is Michael did submit to the Community Preservation Committee a change that they because they've we've agreed to what they're going to do, and they have to request this change of scope. I haven't seen the exact scope that they're asking for, but and a diagram, but he did send a letter in to Gina it's in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yes.
in the works may mean next year.
Yeah.
Oh, this is 2021.
Yeah.
This was a rush job. We had to get this thing put together.
Yeah, had to spend that money.
One thing hopefully I'll be able to talk to everyone about officially, if we have quorum, is I'll mention it unofficially, is I was talking with Matt Zaylor from the McElwain project.
Good.
I sent a letter of support for the project for them to get more historic funds, and it still looks like April is going to be the ground is going to be the site work. So hopefully that looks like, and I invited him to the next historical commission meeting.
Great.
And I also invited him to the next CPC, so he can give everyone the next community preservation meeting.
Great.
So that he can get us up to speed with what's going on.
Do you want, that's the next one is next week. We can put it on the agenda.
The one after.
The one after. So the February one is set aside for a forum, town forum. But that's good. He can come in and talk about it because housing is going to be a major play in that forum.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like he wanted to just to let it go, like have it be around February where he'd come in and talk. But I think what I'd like to do is for on the Facebook page, I'm going to start letting people know about it's how it's coming up. I think that we should maybe even try to reach out to like the enterprise and start getting more visibility as it's going to be a big project.
Yeah.
It's a very important building in the town, and I think it'll be a good way to kind of like show off history and show off there's progress happening here.
Mhm. You know, I have the, Marilyn had somehow gotten the handbell that they brought the kids in with.
Yep.
That you ring, we have that. And our intent is to give it to those guys, because historically, they need to have a little bit of display. So the bell would be part of that. You
Yep.
need to let them know we have it.
Yeah, that's what we're actually going to be discussing at the next when they join the next meeting. Is we're at the point of starting to design what that memorial is going to be,
Great.
and they've been great. They kind of want to keep us looped in and make sure that we have our input as to how we want to show the history of the school or McElwain.
Well, we need to bring in Mrs. DeLutis for that, because
Yeah.
he was the superintendent or whatever it was, principal, I guess, back then. At least one of my kids went to it.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
I guess while we're waiting,
Well, I
James, how's everything with you?
Oh, going pretty well.
Yeah.
I guess I'll come on video now. Yeah, had a good long weekend. I guess, kind of the same as every day. Not too much new, but yeah, going well.
You're staying healthy, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, no complaints. I mean, employed, healthy, so yeah, all is well.
That's good.
Have you done any more work on your website that you were working on?
No, and it's funny. I just got the renewal bill today, and I was like, oh man, I really need to make that, make it worth it. It's been a few kind of personal stuff over the past couple months, but I really want to get back into it. It's a nice outlet, especially when we're all kind of separated. So
yeah, that's kind of with me and like the Facebook page. Like I hit some quiet spots every so often when things get a little busy, but I'm gonna try. I'm trying to get back into that and trying to, because I notice like when people start asking questions and more history comes out. It's like just an example. I was saying that someone asked a question about it, and then another group member suddenly was like, "Oh yeah, my family grew up there," and posted all the photos of all the family members, and posted an image of like a painting of the house from like the early 1900s. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that before any of these people decide to log off Facebook or to leave Facebook, a massive like data drop.
Yep, there you go.
no, totally. I was it's incredible how much of that is just, whether it's oral history or just family history. I was walking down a couple weeks ago. I was walking down Church Street, and there was just a box by the trash, and it was just full of photos. And I don't know if somebody like bought the house and they just kind of dumped it out. But there were all these family photos, and I was it feels weird going through someone's trash, but I was going through it trying to see if there was anything besides family stuff. But yeah, I took a bunch of it. I'm gonna try to scan that and maybe just see if anybody. I don't know. I'm so superstitious. It feels weird to throw out, to see somebody.
Sometimes family photos are sometimes the best because and I know I've taken a bunch of photos of my kids around my yard, but it's in the background. It's to seeing the house that's in the background or seeing like the different angles. I know that you can look into an old photo and you can go, oh, that house wasn't there before. Or this house you see those changes.
Totally.
Steve, have we heard anything from the librarian, the director, on his scanning project?
No, I haven't. I'll make sure to I'll reach out to him.
The town has bought a scanner. I just don't know. I thought that was going to go in the bottom of the memorial building. I don't think there's a real plan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
At least I've heard, not that I've heard of. I'd ask the counselors to ask the town manager what's going on.
Does anyone know what kind of scanner they were looking at?
It's supposed to be pretty high end.
I saw the box, but that was probably almost a year ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not, I know I talked to Brad about it and he said, well, we're just looking for a place to set it up. And obviously, it's not going to be in the memorial building for quite a while.
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling that I can't, what's his first name? Was it Josh? The director of the library.
Well, then like Job or it was it's like Josh, but I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just
I
can't
think it's a
help get the
flatbed
feeling
scanner of some kind.
he bit off more than he could chew by agreeing to that. You know, being the new guy, you know, digitizing all of the town records that can be digitized. That's huge.
Mhm.
So, and how's he going to do that and run the library at the same time? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know that like I also like we have all the microfiche in the historic room, and every so often I'm like, how can we get access to like that, or even find something that can where I can like start to digitize maybe some of that microfiche that we have.
Yeah.
Because like even some of the old Bridgewater Independent newspaper articles. I know I go on to newspapers.com all the time, and there's like the Boston Post, the Boston Globe, the Fall River newspaper. Like those will have stories of Bridgewater, things going on in Bridgewater. But the fact that we have it all in microfiche and we don't have a way to look at it is frustrating.
I know.
Old Bridgewater Historic Society has them going way back almost to the beginning. Hard copy.
Yeah.
But
I've been poking around, well, not recently in the historical room, but at one time I saw the box that had the collection of every Saturday. It, you know, it was about a year or 14 months. And I've never been able to find it again, but I was poking around through some of my dad's stuff, and luckily he photocopied all of them. So I have a complete collection. Well, I think it's a complete collection in a 3-ring binder. So if you ever want to, you know, take a look at them, you know, I got them.
No, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use like whenever I go into newspapers.com, I always throw in little keywords. I'll put in like Bridgewater and then maybe fire or Bridgewater and it's just kind of like trying to match up and you find some very interesting stories. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like the story the town was it the treasurer who hung himself in the town hall.
Crane. It was
Doug Eudore's uncle, second uncle or something.
What name did you say?
Crane.
Was it Crane?
Yes, his last name is Crane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And he was accused of embezzling or something, and it wasn't true, but he hung himself.
Yep.
Because his reputation had been sullied. So that's the elevator story.
Yeah, no. The news articles I found, it actually goes into very detailed description as to exactly where he was found and what time, and it's there.
I think it was.
Now, I thought I gave that report to Marilee.
It should be. I think it's Joshua Crane. I think it was his name.
It was quite an extensive report I had. I thought I gave it to Marilee.
I think she has it.
Yeah, and it's neat to read because it was I guess quite an in-depth study. He didn't embezzle anything. He just had an unconventional way of bookkeeping that nobody could figure it out. But when they finally deciphered it, every penny was there. And it's just a shame that because the guy's name was muddied, he decided to end his life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sad stories.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I wanted to bring up one thing about with all these developments that are going, proposals that are going on in the downtown area. The Perkins Foundry, how that there was a proposal for that to be commercial residential housing. I watched the Conservation Commission meeting where the plans were presented. Now, Perkins is listed not only as the in the macros as the industrial and transportation corridor, but it's also like the buildings are individually listed in macros.
Really?
When this project goes forward, they're going to have to address that. Is that correct?
We have to come to you, the historical commission.
Yeah.
And I actually met with the developer and their lawyer some time ago, and I told them that was they didn't know it was in the historical corridor, industrial corridor, and I said, you're gonna have to come before, so you really need to factor that into your thinking, you know.
Yeah.
So I've alerted them to that.
Yeah, because no, I was looking today, and it's not only is it in the corridor, but 3 buildings are individually have their own the macros database.
Hmm.
So that's something like I was double checking to see if there's anything on Broad Street or anything, but there's nothing there. But for the Perkins, that will be an interesting one.
Isn't the old train station listed?
The one Burger King?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got the permission to do what they did to it, but
Yeah.
that was probably before, I know who the original owners were. But they probably went around the loop somehow.
Yeah, because I think that one I'll just I don't know where it is on development and everything, but I'm just keeping an eye on it to make sure that they do come in front of us.
What I can tell you is they have met with a number of people about the project, individually describing it. They're going to have to go through, to do what they want to do, there's going to have to be some zoning issues addressed. There's just a lot of, it's a great concept, don't get me wrong, but it's got some, it cuts through 2 different zoning. Central Business District cuts the front half, and the back half is, I know it's E or industrial or whatever. So there's some issues around zoning that have to be straightened out or modified.
Yeah.
But it's both the commercial in the Central Business District. It would be a building that's both commercial and housing, and in the back is a large building that would be only housing. But and the other question is that what I've been on communications with people is what's the market nowadays, given COVID and the fact that people may not be commuting as much as they used to be. What's the market going to be for having more local, higher quality commercial outlets in the downtown of Bridgewater?
Right.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but there was a 2017 study by Old Colony Planning Council that did look at the economic draw area for the downtown of Bridgewater. I don't know if you are aware of that, and I can forward it to you because I have a copy on my computer. Mm-hmm. I just got a new computer, so I'm trying to get everything over to my new computer, and I'm having struggles. So, but anyway, I do have that economic study that is quite revealing.
Yeah, no, I think that if we are going forward with, say, that project, the Broad Street project, the McElwain Lane project, the new one that's on Burl Ave, like all these people who they have moving in, you're gonna, people might not be commuting as much, but they're gonna need they'll want to have things that are close by that they can walk
Right.
to. Because I know, like right now, sometimes like we'll be like, oh, what do we want to get to eat? And it's frustrating having to go out of town.
Yep.
Because like you maybe either went through everything that's in town, or the things in town don't fit your liking. Yeah. But to have like a variety would be better, or even just to have something to walk to. I think.
Well, the one thing I raised in the last time board meeting regarding the Broad Street development, Upper Broad Street development, is the way it's laid out right now. By the way, James, I don't know if you've seen the changes, but they have reduced the front of all those buildings. They're still on the west side, but they reduced the height to 3 floors on facing the street, and then in the back they've got a 4th story. So it's softened that a little bit. And they've kind of staged it a little bit more. But the one thing they're doing is keeping all four on one side, and they've removed parcels from the east side, so only the parking lot's under consideration right now. But the problem becomes they're going to have plenty of parking for the apartments and that. But if you're going to have restaurants on the west side, how are the people going to get across Broad Street safely? So one of the big things that they're having to look at is right now is what does the town actually want for safety in that area? Because once it's in there, they can have the developers develop it, but you have to have some kind of real plan. And that's kind of where that planning board is at. And I have suggested it strongly to them that they come back with a master plan before they move forward in terms of the downtown traffic safety. So,
Calvin,
and
have
that's
they,
a council meeting tonight.
have they ever discussed interconnecting all of the parking areas between Broad and Pearl Street?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. 'Cause we
Yeah,
floated
nobody
that,
thinks big picture.
yeah, we floated that idea 15, 20 years ago. And it can be done very easy, but there was one business owner that was 100% opposed to it. Everybody else was willing to sit down at the table. It was Hal Estabrook. He wanted no,
And that's the main connection right there.
yeah, but everybody, but Hal's gone now. And they've been, I don't know if they've been bought out or they're in partnership with another company over in Taunton. So it's really something that they really should be looking at.
So describe again the parking lots that need to be connected.
Every parking lot behind from Estabrook's up to the credit union.
Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, yeah.
It definitely would have worked.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of grade changes. The drainage is right there. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It just means taking down the barriers between the parking areas, and paving the whole thing, and we discussed easements and so forth to absolve people of liabilities and so forth. And the easements wouldn't affect their right to further develop their property because some were concerned, well, gee, if we have to give up some of our parking area, is that going to restrict developing our buildings? And we said, no, everything's on the table. Let's talk about it. And we just ran up against Estabrook and Hal said, no way, I want strangers coming through my parking lot, period. That's it.
Oh, I see. You could connect it. I see a little connection right behind the PK Law office and the credit union. Yeah. And some of that parking is underutilized for the size of the building.
Right. And the people on Pearl Street weren't real crazy about it because every time you talk about Spring Street, they get upset. We've got to do something.
Where's Pearl Street again? I'm trying to.
Right here.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I go there all the time. Yeah. And they got Stetson Street paved finally.
Yeah.
I mean, that street looks, it looks good. And this house, this house right here, I think 28 that's for sale now.
Yeah. And Pascal owns the apartment complex right there at where Stetson Street is left of Bridgewater Print.
Yes.
That's Pascal, and that's what he tried to put in there to increase his density. But the Broad Street development will, if you go back out, the Broad Street development will actually, and the house that was so overgrown with trees was a lawyer's house.
Yep.
That's for sale in there too, on the right side going west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
West
Have you seen
Lawn.
how much? Have you seen
Yeah.
how much it's worth? Like $550,000.
For that house?
That's what they have it listed.
Yeah, they gutted the house. I mean, they put a ton of money into it.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Okay. I saw that somebody revitalized it.
For some reason, Stetson Street does not want me to go onto Stetson Street.
Maybe they haven't driven. They didn't go down that one because it was too rough.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine Mann's house is gonna be going on the market soon too. I don't think Luella lives there anymore.
Who's that again?
Luella Mann's house, that's right next to, Morris's. No, she was next to Gelfie, but her house, I think, is the next to the last house on Stetson before you get to Pearl.
Hmm.
Was it on this side over here?
On the railroad track side
Okay.
of Stetson Street.
Oh, you know what's really neat? If you go to the, somebody should write the history of the railroad track. If you go back out and go to the Foundry area
Mhm.
and you look and you go to Oak Street, you see, and keep going to the left. I'm looking at the left. Go the other way from the Foundry. Yeah, there. You see where the track is? If you come down to the lower left corner, that is total build-up grade. That is, it's, if you do the Google Earth where you look at the elevation,
Oh, that's
It's-
right here?
yeah, it's
That
all,
one-
that whole piece is there is elevation. It's it's
There,
two,
go ahead.
I'm trying to orient myself.
This is Oak Street. We're kind of flipped
Yeah.
upside.
Yeah.
Right here where the railroad comes through, cuts Oak Street over to the Foundry area. If you look at that and do the elevation profile, that's been built up 14 or 15 feet, way back when, years and years ago. It's an interesting bifurcation of the floodplain.
There used to be a cut through right here. They used to
Yeah.
have
That was the river.
that was a channel that I don't know if they dug it out to make it straight or not, but
They
Well,
must have done something to fill, because from the Ellis's house, where your cursor is right now, all the way over to the Foundry, when you look at that, it's just a huge elevation change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that had to be filled way back in the 1800s when the train came through.
yeah,
'Cause I can't imagine them going down and then up.
some of the old maps refer to Ellis's property as the Island Farm.
Interesting.
I wonder if that was really a channel, a man-made channel, or that was just a natural water course that isolated that house.
My bet is that it was pretty much a water course. I think the river spread out there because of the elevation. When it floods now, it does back up and spreads out. And I think all that's the first shelf, and then the second shelf is where their house is.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever realize how much the railroad had been built out.
Yeah.
That it, built up, and it struck me when I was looking at the Foundry the Foundry also has a very big drop off. If you're looking at the Foundry from Broad Street, and to the right, there's a big 10 or 12 foot drop off that I didn't realize was there.
over here on this side over here.
Where's the Foundry?
You talking about Ironworks?
Yeah.
Or
No, not the Ironworks, but the Foundry.
Perkins,
Perkins.
downstream, Steve.
yep. Oh yeah, the drop off over here is extensive.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And what that makes me wonder is whether or not they used a lot of the sand. Apparently, there's still a lot of leftover sand from all the castings. And I'm wondering over time if that sand wasn't discarded and actually built that area up over time. They did tell me that they would be cleaning the site of the sand. It's not toxic, but it's, but it does have some metals in it.
Yeah. I can probably hit a golf ball there from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at the Foundry in the 70s, and that was all, the whole backyard was all filled. And they'd pile it up, and then they'd bring, every 6 months, they'd bring in a bulldozer and level it all off.
Yep.
But that
Okay,
was.
that's
that
how
was
they built that up. That's how
Yeah.
they built that area up.
Well, the Ironworks, same way. When
Yeah,
when we acquired the Ironworks, they did extensive 21Es, and they did numbers of borings 10, 12 feet down, and it was all Foundry sand.
Yeah, no, if you go down to the end where the river merges, the two dams,
Yeah.
all the stones there is slag. It's all
Yeah.
you pick up any stone and it's just melted sand.
That was a bronze foundry there.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
The slag is all red. There's a lot of red slag down there as opposed to the your grays and black slags from the iron.
Yes.
Mm. That's good to know that, red and black and gray, yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, we didn't get quorum tonight.
Yeah. But we've had
So
a
who-
good friendly chat.
Well, who's what's the name on the new person, Steve?
I
We know-
just put that up. Yeah, it's one sec, let me get that again. Matt Casey. I don't know if I've spoken with him yet, but like from what Michael said, he's really energetic and looking forward to kind of working with the history of the town. So
That's great.
I'm excited that we're
Yeah.
that we're expanding. And
You don't have to be a townie to do a good job. Look at yourself. You're doing awesome.
Yeah, look at, well, James is a townie, not townie. I don't know which it is.
By birth, yeah. I got. Unfortunately, I didn't meet the residency requirement to actually join, but that's okay. I mean, can still
Yeah.
contribute from
Absolutely.
as a foreigner, right?
Well, as an immigrant. No, you're an exmigrant.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just have my connection based off of well, if the guy who brought my family to Massachusetts, he was a Warrenets, like one of the big families in Bridgewater, and if it wasn't for him bringing my family from New York to the Brockton area, I probably wouldn't exist. So like,
Yeah.
that's because my mother's family, they were from Brazil. They lived in Brazil and they were brought up to New York, kind of tricked into going up to New York and working at up in Fort Henry, by my grandfather's sister and brother-in-law to work at the trading post. He gave up a very prosperous tailoring business in Brazil. He hated it when he was up there, and John Warrenitz brought him to Abington. And John actually, I know there's a few Warrenitz who owned a lot of buildings in the center of town, but he built. I think that John built maybe right around the Verizon building, right next to the library. He owned land. He owned land on Church Street, and he owned land over on the road right after Burl Ave.
Okay.
But yeah, no, wasn't for him. Wasn't for him and the Bridgewater connection, I wouldn't be here.
Steve, have you talked to Mrs. Kilbridge up on Center Street?
Not yet.
She's a Warrenitz, and she's a tremendous source of family history. I've tried to get her to write it down, but she's willing to be interviewed with her. I think either a cousin or a sister, but she's a tremendous source on Warrenitz history.
Can you just give me your name again? I know you've given it to me before.
Kilbridge.
A good Zoom time for an interview and record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't want her face in the interview. I know she's very active at St. Thomas. I'm trying to remember her first name. Just as you go around the curve between Aldrich Road and Center Street, I'll get her name and her contact information.
All right.
Well, at least I can trace mine to the Caswells of Middleborough and the Washburns of this area.
Yeah.
And the Caswells go all the way back to one of the main signers of the Mayflower Compact. At least if I'm to believe my history.
Right. Yeah. No, it's. I think with all these projects, it's good that we're like. I think that we've had our hands in a lot of. The historical commission's starting to get our hands in a lot of projects. So I think we'll be hopefully the history will get put out there a little bit more.
You're doing a good job. I'm gonna hop off because I'm gonna get ready for the town council meeting and see what they're up to.
Yeah. No, thanks for everyone for staying on, even though it wasn't official.
Okay,
Well,
Steve.
you didn't take any votes. You didn't take any votes. That's good. Take care.
You too.